I am very curious. So going into, as you mentioned earlier, book three, do you intend to do kind of the same thing where you just like, hog out a whole bunch of stuff, um, and now that you're sort of figured out your style better, are you going to be more comfortable doing that, or do you think your process will again change a little bit?
That's a great question because I was thinking of changing, and I'm sort of on the fence about it because I like I like the look of both books. There's something that's quite different between the digital ink and hand inked, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
if I don't like a line digitally, I just control Z and do it again. And when you're doing it by the pens, like if you mess up, you mess up, and maybe you have to sort of fix it a little bit, or you can fudge it. But it looks more to me. It looks more organic. Like
Mm-hmm.
I really like the pencils. If I could just put out a book with pencils, that'd be great. But I can't because it's messy. Because I honestly think that my pencil drawings are often better than what I end up with after I ink everything.
Hmm. I
But
like that. Interesting.
I also can't afford to hire an inker. So here we are.
That's
So
fair.
what I was thinking of doing, because I'd heard this from other people, you can ink it on paper and then scan that, and then you gotta like take the white out using layer masks so that you're left with just the ink
Oh.
and then color that. But my skill as a colorist, I don't think will meet up with that because then when you have like the little nicks of ink and stuff on
Mm.
different things, it'll block your color fill for the flats. And then I would have to go in behind and color all the color with like a brush, and then that'll take forever.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the debate. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple pages like that and see how I like it because I can always
Okay.
do visual ink anyways over top
Yeah.
since the drawing's there. I think that if I can do that, I will because the inking will be quicker. Not that quickness is the main name of the game, but it still need to
If
be
you could make less work for yourself, why not do it, right?
right. And because the computer I have, like I'm on it right now, the tablet, like the screen is not even as big as a piece of paper. And to use the digital pen, you zoom in and you got to move it around, and it takes you can't see everything at once all the time, and it takes and I feel like I'm more free to do stuff
Mm.
on the paper if I'm using actual physical materials. Uh,
Right.
um, but then I also like some of the backgrounds I like painted in volume two with textures and whatever. So
Oh.
I'm gonna try a couple
Okay.
things. Yeah, like um, let's see. Here, I'll show you something.
Yeah.
Well,
Please
you've
do. Yeah.
you've already seen it, but the viewing audience has not. And
Oh.
so I freely admit that my background work is not fantastic
Yet.
yet. It's better than I purposely for the third book, which I've started to write. I've
Oh. Okay.
yeah, we can talk about that too if you want. Um, I have purposely put things not indoors because I feel like and also not in cities because
Okay.
I don't draw cities well. It's fine. You know what you're looking at, but it's not like, oh, this is a vibrant place to live.
Okay.
But like, and
I see what you're saying.
when you're in like spaceships and laboratories and stuff, I tend to just be like, oh, the walls are gray, and so that's what happens. But then you get, oh, that gives a little too much away. But when you get to
Yeah.
like
Yeah. No. No
something,
spoilers here.
yeah, you get to something like this, like there's like mountains and stuff, and that's just painted, like quote unquote painted, like digitally painted. Like I'm gonna put brown on the bottom, and then I'm gonna get like a grass brush
Oh,
and
okay.
that, and this needs some texture, and this should have a highlight and whatever. And like I didn't actually when I drew that on pencil. When I drew that on pencil in pencil. I just drew. There's a lot of pages. Filler. Just put in. I just drew, like, just drew it. That's it. Like, I just drew the character.
Oh,
It's like a
cool.
green screen. It's like watching them make an episode one of Star Wars. Like, here's a bunch of actors, and everything else is green. And then fill in whatever you want. Like, so, like, I knew what I wanted in the back of those pictures, but I was like, oh, if I draw it in pencil, it's just gonna be extra work.
Okay.
So the debate continues for inside my brain about how to do that. The third book. I think
I
I've
imagine,
rambled on
yeah.
long enough to answer your question.
No, I mean that's. I think what a lot of people, especially like anyone learning to draw, they always feel like you should learn to draw. Or I feel like there's this expectation anyway that you will learn to draw, you'll find your style, and then you'll just work. And that is such from especially now that I've been doing this and talking to people just like yourself, I've learned that that is the silliest thing that I have ever myself thought, but also that I've heard other people like say, because even like artists like yourself where you've gone from, you know, even now you're still tempering with your style to someone like another person I've spoken with, another Canadian, Jason Lapidus. He's constantly adjusting and changing his style, to even like Francis Manipal, where they're gonna constantly learn. Right, the more you do something, the better you get, the different you get.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that the fact that you're so you're already in your brain, you're thinking, okay, I need to, what's the next thing, what might work, what might not work, how can I show this, and how do I fit this in the frame. I think it's awesome. And it just speaks to your determination, and I can't wait.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's a really interesting thing to think about because a lot of people think, oh, you can draw people really well. Like you can draw really well, and you can draw great people. And I listened to Fat Man on Batman, like Kevin Smith's podcast, and he
Yep.
had Greg Capullo on there ages ago now, obviously. But because and so Greg got turned down and turned down and turned down because the guy Larry Hama at Marvel was like, yeah, like you can draw a person really well. Can you draw a phone? Can you draw a desk? Can you draw like you have to draw like everything? And so it and it's not as easy as you might think to draw just objects and things, especially if you're just trying to do it without any reference. Like, oh yeah, like you've probably seen on TV those shows are like, okay, like draw a bike, and they
Oh
ask
God.
adults to draw a bike, and none of them look like bikes once you hold it up to an actual bike because it's not easy to do. Like, it's a really hard thing to do, and so that's something that I'm both like purposely trying to do more, like do better in the next book, but also purposely trying to avoid having to do by having things be outside and a little more on the fly, adventurous. I, I like my outline for the third book. I'll say that.
Good. Well, I'm happy to hear it. I mean, when it comes to and maybe you should check this out, or for anyone wanting to learn to draw, to check it out. To talk about drawing without a reference and stuff like that. Two artists sort of come to my mind when I hear that, and that's God, I hope I don't butcher this person's name. Kim Jung Gi. I'll obviously gonna have the name up. They're I
Yeah.
believe they're a South Korean artist. Um, clearly very, very, very experienced. Because I follow them on social media, and I recommend, of course, definitely check them out. It's
Hmm.
the name is Kim Jung Gi, and this person, just because they've drawn so much, will seemingly with like a not a pen, but well, I suppose it's a type of pen. It's ink they use. They're working in ink, and they go through and just start freehanding murals and stuff,
Oh wow.
and everything looks proportionately correct. But within that same drawing, they'll change your perspective of what's going on. So like
Hmm.
he this person will draw something like a room, like a person sitting at a little desk or a little table with stuff on the table and then windows and walls, but it'll look like you're actually looking at it through a fish eye lens. So it's got that
Hmm.
weird bowed effect to it,
Yeah.
and at the same time they could have like a person next to it as like outlining it, and that person is perfectly proportioned, but again, it's all just completely freehand. So I don't know how the heck they
Wow.
did that, but it's really cool. And to watch them work, because often like they just film themselves doing it,
Yeah.
so you yourself or anyone might be able to glean from them. Another person I really like is Stefan Sejic, who frequently on Twitch streams, and I remember I was watching one of his streams, and he said he was like, "Yeah, I don't draw from reference. I just learned how to draw bodies and everything without the reference. So he just rough sketches it. But as a result of that, like when he needs to, it really messes him up because he's
Hmm.
used to not having it. So it's weird. Like it's two extremes, I think. So
Yeah.
maybe check out their art styles, check out their Twitch streams and videos, because it might be a cool reference for you to check out as well as anyone out there.
Yeah.
Um,
That sounds
yeah.
cool.
Perfect. So when you sat down, just before we started filming, you had a rather large stack of everything. I'm assuming that was your paperwork, right? Like all your drawings and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So this, I said before we started, I had a lot of goodies coming in. So
Yes. Yeah.
this is the book in paper form,
Wow.
um, and so it's 102 pages. It's but my process is really simple, and probably uh, my imposter complex will show for a second here. Like real comic book artists will probably be aghast at what I do, because I'm not a real comic book artist. Or
You got two graphic novels published, man.
I do have
You
two graphic
can
novels.
whatever.
Um, so, because what I do is I print it off. It's in the closet. Um, to scale, like the 11 by 17, like comic book
Oh,
paper.
the
Yeah.
big comic book. Yeah.
Right. And so it's got all the dotted lines and the solid lines on it. And so then I go to the window, any old window, and put that sheet in behind. And then
Oh.
trace, like, there's my corner. Like, I know I can't go outside that
And you've
corner.
got the notches. Oh.
Yeah, and I can't go
Look
outside
at
that
you.
corner because there's the one corner is the light area and the second corner is bleed. And then I draw and draw and draw. And then on the double pages, where's the double page from this book? Right near the end.
Um, I was just on it actually.
Yeah, it's the reveal. Like you got to sell it a little bit, right? So here's like the reveal of the big monster in the first book, right here. It looks. I think it looks pretty dope. I just turn the page sideways, and
Oh
and my
yeah.
thread like that because it's close enough. And then when I scan it in, I just stretch it a little bit or shrink it or whatever I need to do to
Hmm.
make it fit the digital borders. But yeah, so this represents like well, I didn't pencil for 5 months, but 5 months were span of time of penciling and working, and yeah,
Wow.
it's pretty weighty. Um,
No kidding.
I have volume one, but it's all inked and colored. Well, grayscale colored as well. So if there's ever a convention again, I'll have them at my table to buy.
Yes, definitely.
I'm trying to figure out like a Patreon or a Gumroad or something like that where I can like, oh, if you want to buy the book and a page, like you really love this page, it's still available, so you can buy it or something like that. I've got to figure out that just as something else on my plate to figure out to sell more stuff because some people like having original comic book art.
Yes.
And they can, if they like it, they can have it for money.
Of course, your time is valuable, especially your experience.
So they say.
So they say, yeah. Wow. So just for the people out there, so there's 1 and 2, obviously.
Yep.
What's the easiest way that anyone can grab one of these books?
So the super easiest way for anyone to grab a book is to go on Amazon and grab it from there. Like everyone knows about Amazon, everyone's got an account. You can go on Amazon, search for Omega Squad. You might add my last name on there and make it easier because there is other books called Omega Squad. But if you search Omega Squad, it'll show up on the list. There's volume 1, there's volume 2. I'm Chris Barnes, and they're on Amazon. That's the easiest way. If you want it signed and you want a sketch or something along with it in the mail, you get in touch with me on Instagram or Facebook, and then I will personally mail you one that's been signed as a sketch or some other goodie or whatever in with it. And then, like I was just saying, I guess if you wanted like, oh, I had volume 1 and I really like the page where this happens, like where I was like she shoots Ernie and Bert. Like I really want that page. You can have that page. Actually, you can't have that page. That page doesn't exist. I picked that out of my brain. It actually doesn't exist, that page, because it was a composite of 2 pages I drew and then put together even in Photoshop in that book. So that's a lie.
Oh.
You can have the one where she steals their speeder bike and rides off. You can buy that page. And I have to figure out how much they cost. But yeah, but yeah, if you get in touch with me directly, books and goodies in the mail to you.
Perfect. And I will have links for everything for there down below, whether it's your social media, the Amazon page, all of it. That way folks out there can go ahead, click on it, check it out. I did want to ask, actually, so I'm assuming if it's through Amazon, within like a week or 2 or whatever it gets to you, if you're mailing it personally within Canada, it'll be up to Canada Post's control, basically how quick it gets.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It should be a bit less. Well, I guess it depends on how far it goes, because I'm now at one end of the country. So if you're in BC, it's going to take a while. But
yes, and you're in Nova Scotia, correct?
I'm in Nova Scotia now. Yeah, yeah. I was in the first interview too, but I was just in Nova Scotia. Now I'm an East Coaster, and I eat every day or whatever. But no, yeah, it'll take a bit to get across the country, but to get to Toronto, I assume it'll be about a week. We'll find out. I mailed the packages on Friday.
Oh, well, there you go.
So Konrad will know shortly how long it takes.
I will. Perfect. Good to know. Well, thank you.